Newcastle 1, Palace 0. Killer, absolute killer. Goal from Almiron, first for Newcastle, wins it with about 7 minutes to go. And that ends our 4-game unbeaten run. I'm gutted. I'm a lot more gutted than I thought I'd be, mainly because watching the game, I really thought we deserved 3 points, or at least a draw, at least a point. I don't think Newcastle were very good whatsoever. Very sloppy in possession. Left a lot of spaces between the defence and the midfield. It made it quite easy when we were on the counter to pick off those 1-2s. I don't think they looked to have the intent or the tempo or the energy to want it as much as Palace did. That being said, I think the first half it was very even. I thought that Palace weren't very quick in tempo at all. We were a bit sloppy in possession as well, and chances were few and far between for both teams. But the second half, I thought Palace just we were definitely the better team. Definitely, I think it was about 25 minutes gone, and we had 7 shots at goal to Newcastle's 0. Their first shot at goal in the second half was the goal with 7 minutes to go. In many ways, it's typical Palace, you know, it's so typical Palace. We've seen it over the last 10, 20 years, or however long you've supported Palace. We've seen it throughout our time as fans of this club, you know, being in good positions, looking comfortable, and then obviously letting it slip at the end. It's very, very Palace-like fixture. That's the best way I can describe it. It's a very Palace result. Fair play to Almiron. It was a great finish, but if you look before that, if we go, first half, as I said, was very even, not a lot of chances to speak of. I thought we grew into the game. It started off quite good number of crosses and a couple of corners from Newcastle, and they looked to show a bit of intensity in the first 5-10 minutes. That soon, or very quickly, went, and then it became very stale that first half. And it was only really last 20 minutes we started picking up and actually showing, as I said, showing a bit more intent and some nice link-up play. Wilf getting on the ball a bit more. No real chance to speak of. Wilf had the best chance of the first half, which was a nice through ball from Benteke, who I have to say, I'll get on to his missed chance in the second half in a minute, but I have to say I thought he was one of our better players today. Yeah, it was slightly overhit, the through ball from Benteke, so it was a bit narrower. I think, sorry, a bit wider from the goal than Zaha probably would have wanted the ball. And I think it was there was a little less weight on that pass. Probably would have been a better angle for the strike, and it may have gone in. We don't know, obviously, but I think that from the angle Wilf took the shot, it was always going to be in the keeper's favour to make the save. But we go in at half time in the ascendancy, the better team, starting to see a slight rise in our performance, and, you know, spirits quite high. We continue out in the second half, and as I said earlier in the video, we dominated the second half. I thought that it was only one team that looked like winning, in all honesty. Number of corners, number of crosses, and not just that, but some really nice passing play. There's always been a question mark over how we play when we have the ball. We're always so good when we have less possession and we're looking to counter-attack with pace and sit deep and compact and to just be defensively sound and then break quickly. Question marks have always been in these games against teams in and around us who play a similar style of football to us. If we're given the ball or allowed to have the ball for large periods of the game, what are we going to do with it? And I do think that in this game, we had a lot of periods of play where it was some nice passing. Maybe could have been a bit quick in tempo. I do like quick tempo because I think it just causes more problems for the defence. You know, it doesn't allow them to settle the opposition. And I do think we could have improved in that area. But in general, in that second half, it was good, some good passing play. I thought Benteke was spot on with some of his, he won all the headers. Didn't have people running off him, which was a shame, but won all the headers. A couple of nice flicks and link-up plays, as I said. And, you know, MacArthur came very close, wriggling in between a couple of players. A lot of Newcastle players defending in the box, as you expect from a Steve Bruce side, and it was one dribble away, one ball roll away, MacArthur for having a clean shot on goal. Tried to chip Dubravka just before that, and it was a good save from Dubravka for a corner. Then you had the biggest moment of the game, in my opinion, through ball from, I believe it was Van Aanholt, sent Benteke in on goal. Again, at a slight angle on the right-hand side of the goal, but it was a chance where he got a great strike off, but it was straight at the keeper, and it was quite an easy save for Dubravka, and you feel if he just put it in the corner, it would have been a definite goal. And that was the big moment. And it was less than 10 minutes after that, mix up from a throw in down in the corner by our corner flag. Van Aanholt doesn't press the man at the corner, and Zaha ended up having a bit of a scuffle with Van Aanholt after the goal, because he was telling him go and close him down, and he didn't. Allowed the player to be chested back to, I think it was Manquillo, whipped in the ball. Carroll nodded it down to nodded it down to Almiron, and I'm still thinking now how he was in that much he was in that much acres of space. How was in that much space in general. I think a lot of people go straight to the fact we have so many injuries in the back four and our lack of depth in the back four currently with some of the injuries and suspensions, and saying that was the reason why he was unmarked. It was just that I honestly think it was the midfield's fault. I thought that McCarthy was on the edge of the box. He could see that he could see Almiron there, but didn't get goal side. You had Luca, the ball came over his head from the cross, and he was obviously ball watching, didn't see out the corner of his eye Almiron there around the penalty spot area, totally unmarked. So I felt it was just, for me, the one lapse in concentration we saw from the side when we're defending. Apart from that, Tompkins was very, very good. I thought Kyoto was very good, slotting into centre-back again. You know, it was very frustrating because that was our first real lapse in concentration at the back, and it was a really poor goal to concede. As I said, a really good finish from Almiron, not taking anything away from that. But really poor to concede that. It was a great nod down from Carroll. We had two players at the back post there as well. Could one of them have been able to just flick it on? You know, it's very small margins in the Premier League, and you just felt that was, in my opinion, it was poor and it was absolute killer. And Meyer then came on after that, and another question mark, I have to say. I know we've got youngsters on the bench. I know we've not got much depth or much quality to necessarily to bring off the bench and change a game. But that's no excuse to not make subs at all. I do feel that 10 minutes to go, just before the goal went in, we still hadn't made a sub yet. We still had the same 11 players out there. And I feel like we were in the ascendancy. We're looking the better team. It's only one team at that stage that looked like winning. Get Max Meyer on. We saw how he changed the game against Brighton. I don't know why Roy decided to wait until 5 minutes to go when we're 1-0 down to then bring him on. Honestly, it was so frustrating after the performance he put in against Brighton coming off the bench. Play him in the middle, take McCarthy or MacArthur off, get him in the middle of the park with 20 minutes to go. I honestly felt we would have won the game, or at least gone 1-0 up and seen out at least the draw. So frustrating. It was the crying out for Meyer to come on. Yes, we had youngsters on the bench. Maybe Pierre could have come on up front if we wanted to really go for it and give a youngster an opportunity. I understand not really having much choice on the bench. But as I said, it's no excuse to not make subs at all, especially when we're in the ascendancy and you have a player on the bench who can make a difference. Wickham, to an extent, yes, he hasn't played this season, but he's another player on the bench, fit, ready to go, could make a difference if you wanted to change up a system, swap him for Benteke, something like that. So I felt that was so poor from Roy again. We haven't seen that for a while, and I don't want him to use an excuse as we've got injuries, so I didn't have any options to make. You did have options to make, and in the end, I think not going for the win and and settling for, I wouldn't say settling for the point, but hoping we'd get the clean sheet at least, is what cost us, because in the end, one lapse in concentration and we're 1-0 down, and all of a sudden it's game over. So really gutted we couldn't get the 3 points today. I really thought this was a great chance to, especially 2 draws against Watford and Brighton. I thought it'd be really nice to follow it up with a win now. And as I said, it looked like one team was winning that game, and we know what it's like after last week, playing poorly and getting something you don't deserve. I know for a fact Newcastle fans are going to be thrilled with those 3 points today, because they did not deserve it. But yeah, onwards and upwards. We've got West Ham Boxing Day, a good chance to make up for things there. And yeah, fingers crossed we can get something in that game. But hope you all have a good Christmas, guys. That's really put a downer on this weekend, unfortunately. But onwards and upwards, you know, still in a good spot in the league. We're going to drop back a bit, obviously, from the rest of the guys in and around us. But as I said, West Ham up next. Fingers crossed we get a good result there. Yeah, that's my review to the game, guys. So gutted we couldn't get it over the line today, or at least get the point. A point wouldn't have been the end of the world away to any team in the Premier League, especially Newcastle, which is a long way to go and a tough team to break down. So shame we couldn't get things over the line there. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, guys, if you haven't already. Comment your thoughts down below on the game. I'm not too unhappy with the performance. Just gutted that we were defensively inept for that 1 minute in the 83rd minute. We were just typical Palace is the best way I can describe it. Typical Palace. But onwards and upwards. Fingers crossed for the next result. Have a great Christmas, guys. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time.